Hey everyone, it's Rose, and that's Cher. And today I'm going to be reacting to Amy's Life Journeys video titled Learning to be Truthful, dot, 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 dot. So let's go ahead and jump right into it.
What?
Alright, so I'm very interested in this since we're coming out and saying that potentially we've been lying about some things. So let's get this video going.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining today. Today is Wednesday. And if you're not new to my channel, if you're a viewer that has been here for a while, since January 1st, every Wednesday I have done a weigh-in. So I check in every week. Have I had I guess you'd say like a successful weight loss? No. There's been a lot of errors. It's not even really been so much trials as it is errors. And
literally admit she hasn't tried. There's no trials. It's just all errors, guys. All errors.
I say errors is because, you can lie to yourself and you can tell yourself, no, I didn't do bad, I ate good, yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, when I sit down and I really think about like all the food that I consumed for the whole day, I will like think about it and be like, dang, like if you really stop and write down the calories that are in each of the things that I eat, not the meal, but each item, and that's how you're gonna get like an actual accurate calorie count. And
yeah, no crap. These ladies think that they know how to like count calories and how to lose weight, and like this is just proving we have no clue. That's how you count calories, is you track the amount of calories in each food that you put in your mouth. What?
So I worked on that a lot more, I'm gonna say this week, than I have in almost a year, because the first time that I had a really good successful weight loss was when I was on my Fitness Pal. I was logging all my food, because it's easy to say, well, I had just a hamburger today, like that's all I ate. But did that meal cost you 1,200 calories? Even though it was just a hamburger, I find myself doing that to myself all the time. Like, well, I didn't really eat that much, but it's the calories that are in it is what counts. And so, to update you guys a little bit on a few things going on. So I told you guys about, I want to say like 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago. I'm off on my times a little bit. So don't quote me to exactly what day or like the time frame. But I want to say it's like 3 or 4 months ago. I think I had shared with you guys that, my nutritionist that I was planning to go back to, she moved. So
when did she? No, she never shared that. She said she was going to a nutritionist. That's what I remember. I don't remember her saying the nutritionist mysteriously moved. Anyway.
She went on maternity leave for having her baby, and then
I don't remember any of this.
Because her husband's a professor at a college, so he was taking a job out of the state. Therefore, that left me with no nutritionist. And I'm still faithfully going to my counselor every week.
Which is good.
Therapy counselor. I mean, she's considered, I want to say like a therapist, but she's my counselor too. I don't know. Maybe they're both the same word, just different, or same meaning, different word. But anyways, so that left me without my nutritionist. So I've been going, because every week I meet with my counselor. Right now, because of the stay home, stay safe regulations, we are doing over I don't know what it's called. Zoom. I think it's called Zoom. Something like that. I'm still new to it all, but I do have it because I've met with her twice now. And then I met with my doctor once on it. That was a joke because that was the first time I had, well, no, that's my second time, but my first time meeting with my doctor that way. And we couldn't figure out his audio, but then when I figured out his audio, I blasted in his ear, and then I couldn't hear him, and vice versa. It ended up coming back on that he was like blasting in my ear. I'm like, dang, don't need a hearing aid. But anyways, I've been meeting with my therapist, and we've been talking a little bit about the food. But see, she's not a nutritionist. Her thing is the food process, the food topic comes up in therapy a lot because I cope with food. So like this last week when I met with her, you know, we really talked and I really became very honest with myself. And, you know, because it's easy. It is freezing out. It is easy to tell yourself something and make yourself believe that.
Yes, absolutely.
So
I feel like that's all that these women do is like kind of like throw out little white lies to try to convince their audience, and then they start believing their own lies. That's what I'm totally agree.
All along, because in my how do I say this? I want the change. I want to have mobility to do things. I want to add.
Again, I'm going to go back to like the stages of like change. Wanting and actually taking the steps of action to make the change happen are two very separate steps in the steps of changing something. So like when she talks about changing, she says a lot like, I hope that I'll change, or I hope that this will happen. Now she's saying, I want to change. I want to be able to move better or whatever. But when it comes down to it, you need to actually take the actions, take the steps to make the change happen. Not just say, I want it to happen. You actually have to do it.
You know, 10, 20 years onto my life, I want to be able to do things with my family, with my children, and be there for my children through all of their milestones. You know, I want to do those things. But I have to keep telling myself, Amy, it's not going to happen overnight. And I am at that point where when I was talking to my therapist this week...
Not only is it not going to happen overnight, it's not going to happen if you don't do anything to make it happen. Like I've said.
I just want to be like everybody else. I want to fit into society. I want to be able to do the things that everybody else is doing. But I don't want to feel like I am punishing myself. And she says, well, kind of go into a little bit more of why you feel like you're punishing yourself. And I'm like, you know, I can't sit down and go have a fast food dinner. Because if I do that, I'm not taking care of myself. And I'm going to ultimately put weight on because I chose to eat that meal. Whereas if I would go home and make a dinner, you know, that was not processed and it was full of nutrition and everything else, I would have to do the at-home dinner versus the I'm going to eat a fast food dinner. And I'm not saying to eat fast food
what I want to say about that is like it's all going to be dependent upon what the meal is that you're making at home. If you're making a meal that's going to equal the same amount of calories as like a meal from McDonald's, you're not going to lose weight either way. So just because you go to eat fast food doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to gain weight. I mean, sure, it's not the healthiest option, but like there are ways to eat fast food that isn't high in calories. So she needs to kind of like get out of the mindset, in my opinion, of like black and white. Like there is some gray area in the middle. But I also get the people, she's come out and says she has binge eating. I can understand also how fast food could be a trigger food for her. That would cause her, like, if she went and ate a meal at McDonald's, to then continue to just eat and eat and eat. I could also see that happening.
That's not what I'm saying, but, you know, there are people out there that can take a dinner date and go and have fun. I can't do that. I can't. If I want to have success, I can't, because I have to stay straight with myself. So I kind of take it like a punishment is how I look at it. And
that's why you're not successful, because you see it as a punishment. That explains it right there.
Keep telling her, but I told her, I said, you know, I want to change, but I don't want to change. And she says, well, why don't you want to change? And I said, I don't want to have to give things up to have a change.
Yeah, you don't want to be uncomfortable. That's like the bottom line. These women don't want to be uncomfortable in any kind of way, so they don't change, because that would require getting uncomfortable.
Heart and in my mind, I know I have to give these things up, because even a normal person that I consider a normal person doesn't eat like I eat. Obviously, that's why they're not in this situation or in the position that I'm in. So it was a lot about just becoming honest with myself and saying, you know what? No, you're right. I don't need to eat fast food. I don't need to have ice cream every night. I don't need to have a snack every day, because snacks are required.
Pulling a Chantal.
And it's very eye-opening to me that I have taken myself and became very honest this week with myself. And I'm really trying to get in a better headspace with myself with this whole nutrition and working out and all that. I'm trying to look at it in a whole different way. Not looking at it as a punishment, but looking at it as something that is going to allow me to have even more outlets to do things. Then I would be able to go out and go shopping. I would be able to go out to the parks and push my kids in the swings. So that's kind of where I'm like leading my brain to think now is, instead of saying, well, God, you know, I have to get up and I have to work out and I have to this and I have to that just to be able to go and do this. And is it worth it? Is, you know, no. Now it's like, no, I want to get up and I want to work out because I know.
I think it's a matter of setting goals that will come as a result of losing weight. Like, I want to lose weight so that I can fly in a plane to go to Bora Bora. Like, you have to have you have to have goals outside of just like losing weight in order to be successful, in my opinion. And she has to not look at it as a punishment. If you're looking at it as a punishment, like, who wants to have a punishment? Not me. So, like, you're not going to do the thing that you're considering a punishment. Does that make sense?
Out of it. Excuse me, my asthma's acting up so bad, but again, it's probably from exercising. So that's kind of where I've been this week with the whole mental health, talking to my counselor, therapist, whatever. But this is where I was leading to say something. So I shared with you guys a couple months ago that my therapist had moved. So I ultimately, at the end of the day, I have not had a counselor or a nutritionist, for a few months. So I thought I could do this on my own. I thought I knew it all. I didn't need to go and find another nutritionist. But obviously, we see where that has landed me. We see what I have been up to. And it's not getting me absolutely anywhere. So I talked to my therapist on Monday, and she emailed me a contact for a nutritionist. She's here in my area. My therapist is actually really good friends because they have clients that share each other. So they work hand in hand with each other. They have good communication. So I'm going to be, I already emailed her, but she is out of the office until Monday. So I will hopefully hear from her on Monday and be able to set up. And I know it's not ideal because, we're going to have to meet over, the video thing, but at this point, I don't care. It's not going to make a difference
if I'm
than sitting in an office or if I'm sitting, in my car, because on Mondays, I go out to my car during my therapy because that's my private time. And I don't want that time to be interrupted by anybody or anything, phone calls, things like that, because it would be treated just as if I was going to her office. And it's private talk because I can share what I want to share with my family, but I don't have to share everything. I can keep things private. And there has been things that I have chosen to keep private. That's healthy. It is okay to not share everything with anybody. There are things that you should be able to keep between you and a safe person that is helping you work through the issues that you have. So anyways, I will be meeting with her hopefully very soon. I guess my therapist had already talked to her and said, hey, I have another client that might want to give you a call. And she's like, oh my gosh, give her my email. I do have some space. So it sounds like it's going to be a workable thing. It's just finding like what our schedules are going to look like. So because once Ollie goes back to work, it's going to be a little bit difficult to be able to go to 2 different appointments in the morning time. So we'll just have to play with it and see what happens. But, me and Ollie have worked very well with making sure Mondays mornings are kept open, even with his work, so that I can do my therapy. Because that's number one. That has to happen. So now we will talk about the weigh-in. So let me insert the weigh-in right here, and then we will talk about it.
475.8 pounds.
All right.
That's
so
weird. That's weird that she didn't put the video in of her actually stepping on the scale. It was just her feet already on the scale with the number up already. That's weird. That's a little shady to me, but whatever. I think her weigh-in from last week was 476, so we're maybe down a pound. If she's having difficulty with her nutrition and realizing she's eating too many calories, it doesn't surprise me that she's not losing weight quickly, even if she is working out every day. Because like I've said before, you can't outwork a bad diet.
That means I am down a pound. It's definitely, it's not the number I was looking for. I'm going to be honest. Again, I thought I was going to lose more, but you know what? Again, it goes hand in hand. Like I've heard from a lot of people. I heard it from my therapist on Monday. You know, workout is great. You have to work on the nutrition. If your head's not into the game, you're not going to make as much progress. You'll make progress, but it won't be anything where you think it's supposed to be. And I see that, obviously, this week with my weigh-in. So I'm not going to push on myself and say you did bad or, you know, you could have done better because, you know, I did where my headspace was at that moment because I wasn't thinking as clearly as I should have when it comes to diet, you know, taking everything and putting it into my, I'm not working with MyFitnessPal. I can't remember. Oh,
she says so much. So many words. But there's no substance behind it. That's so mean. But what did that sentence mean? What did that mean?
Oh, I was thinking I have it on the iPad. It is called trifecta. I'm probably saying that completely wrong. The front of it looks like this. And then it kind of, to me, reminds me a little bit about MyFitnessPal, but what I did is I Googled in how to calculate macros because I've heard a lot of people talk about that, but I didn't even know what macros were. And of course, again, I haven't had a nutritionist to ask those things, so it was really hard to find out what it was. And I really didn't. I forget to look on YouTube because everything is on YouTube. I could have looked and just seen what it was about. But what I went ahead and did was I Googled in calculator for macros, and so the face thing looks like this, the front, and down here, if you can see, there's a fork and a spoon. That's where you will log your food, okay? And my calories that they give me is 2,667. And, you know, I think I'm going to work roughly around those numbers just until I get in with the nutritionist because, of course, she probably is going to have a better setup. She'll know exactly what to do. I'm sure she's going to want me to continue to log my food because that just keeps you accountable. Also with this, it has where you can calculate or like keep a check on your water, and then you can add your weight into it. So it's very much like MyFitnessPal, but it's just a different setup basically. So now when it comes to,
she keeps pulling like the Chantal, like who's looking at me? Who's looking at me?
Doing with physical movement. So I have been working out every day pretty much. There's been one day that I did not, which was yesterday. In fact, it was yesterday. But I've worked out every day since all of that. I am starting to feel so much better during my working out. I even told Ali the other day.
I don't understand why when it's an eel sound, she says ill, and when it's an ill sound, she says eel. Like, she just said fill instead of feel, but she says mill instead of meal in it. Anyway, doesn't matter. Not important.
Again, it's little things that I notice are big to me, and they are off-scale victories, and it totally shocked me. But so Monday, Ollie, had made some stuff for dinner and things like that, and so I was like, you know what? He went out, he was mowing the yard, and I was just sitting there on my chair, not doing anything. And I'm like, Amy, get up and do something. So I looked in the kitchen. I'm like, ooh, that kitchen's a mess. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go in there. I'm going to stand. I'm not going to sit. I am going to stand no matter how bad my back hurts. And I'm going to clean this entire kitchen from dishes down to counters and garbage and all that. And I did it. I was so excited that I did it. And it took me about 35 to 40 minutes to clean the whole kitchen because, there was a lot of pots and pans that had to be scrubbed. But I cleaned the stove, the top of the stove. I cleaned underneath all of, the toaster and things like that. I cleaned the whole kitchen. I felt so good. That was...
Remember when she said she was, sanitizing her kitchen, every 2 hours because of the coronavirus? Remember when she said that?
Accomplishment for me. Because I didn't sit. Now, I normally will pull a chair in, sit down, do the dishes and things like that, but I stood up, I did it, I owned it, and honestly, my back did not hurt. It hurt at the end just a little bit, but it really was not that bad. It wasn't enough to stop me from cleaning, whereas a couple of weeks ago, if I would have been standing there cleaning the kitchen, I would have had to rest my stomach on the counter, and I would have been huffing and puffing. I would have been hurting. So this way, I felt so good being able to stand and do this and know that I am like making big changes. So anyways, I am so excited that so many changes are happening within myself, my body, my mental health. I feel is like becoming a little bit more clear because I am being able to see a lot more of the whole picture. And the only reason why is because I think it's because this week I really became more honest with myself and told myself I don't want to change, but I know I have to change, and that's where it's different. Is because I don't have to lie to myself to make me not think that I'm changing. So anyways, I am going to close, you guys. I got to run home. I'm sitting at the school just to make the video. But I'm going to run home. It's cold and rainy here, and so I hope you guys are having a blessed Wednesday. Stay tuned, you guys. I'm going to be checking in again. That little subscribe thing was way too freaking distracting. I don't know what she just said. Comment section that people were kind of getting a little bit bored watching the workout, so I was more so doing it just to hold myself and to show you guys that, hey, I am up, I am moving, I am working out. But you know what?
Yeah, I say if it's going to keep you accountable, keep filming them, keep putting them up. Who cares if people are bored? Put them up for yourself. Don't put them up for the other people, especially if it's what's going to help you stay consistent with working out.
It doesn't take me having to show everything for you guys to possibly start believing me. Anyways, take care, you guys. I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.
So final thoughts. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'm glad that Amy is going to therapy, going to counseling to kind of sort through her issues because it's more than any of the other girls are doing right now. I hope that she's being consistent with the workouts. I think that's great, but I think it really is important for her to start focusing on the nutrition and her calorie intake because she won't be successful until she's able to start cutting calories in her diet. I think going to the nutritionist is a great idea. I hope it happens. I think she'll hopefully learn a lot, and the nutritionist will set up a meal plan for her, and I hope that she can stick to it. I was under the impression that there was a nutritionist and that they had set up a meal plan, but then there never was a meal plan that Amy stuck to, so God only knows. But hopefully, fingers crossed, this one works out. Like I said already this video, she can want to change, but the change won't happen until she takes the steps toward that change. I made a video about it in regards to Amber. I will link it in the description as far as like the stages of change. I go into a lot more detail about what the stages of change are, and it might help put some things into perspective for you all, as well as where Amy is in those stages. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in seeing more from me, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified when I upload. I always leave my Twitter and Instagram link down below so you can follow me over there if you'd like. Thank you again for watching. Don't forget to wash your hands, and I will see you in the next one.